There are so many showcases out there to choose from, many of them being money grabs, and I know that you don't want to lose your money here. So watch this video here to discern which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones by having a key set of criteria in your mind when you're making your decision. What's going on, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Braden Pearl and I'm the founder and owner of Advancement Hockey Advising, where we've helped countless hockey players advance to the next level. Now, before we dive into our criteria, real quick, I want to mention that we did create a showcase ranking video in 2025 in the past few months. So if you want a nice ranking of the different showcases, definitely click that video. But let's dive right into the criteria right now. The first big criteria I always recommend to people is to make sure that it's trusted organizers putting the event together, okay? I've seen too many people just go to a random event, they promise the moon and they sign up, they don't do their due diligence and they show up to the event. Either the event's not happening, I've heard those horror stories, the event gets canceled like a week before and they don't get their money back, or they show up and there's like maybe 1 or 2 scouts in the stands, if that. You know, they promise like 80 plus scouts or something like that, and no scouts or coaches are in the stand. So really make sure that you do your due diligence, okay? Make sure that it's a trusted organizer, that they're organized, right? Goes into the name, but make sure that they know what they're doing, that they have a good track record, that they've ran the showcase multiple years. You know, if it's a new showcase, doesn't mean it's gonna be bad, but it's just, you have to be a little bit more skeptical, okay? You have to do your research, make sure the website's professional, you know, make sure everything seems professional. Ask around to different coaches that you know, to friends that you know, see if you can find some testimonials as to what the event was like. Usually you have a pretty good idea by looking at their website and how it's laid out to know if it's gonna be legit or not, but definitely ask around and do your research. It's really, really important. There's a lot of showcases out there. A lot of them are money grabs, so really make sure that you do your research and that it's trusted organizers putting the event together. All right, second key criteria here is high exposure, okay? Make sure there's actually coaches and scouts in the stands, because what's the point of a showcase? It's not just to go play some hockey, right? The point of a showcase is to showcase your skills in front of coaches and scouts that you want to be seen by. So make sure, usually a good benchmark that I tell people to have in these events is 50 plus scouts and coaches in attendance, okay? Now it could be a little bit more, a little bit less, but that's usually the benchmark I like to tell people. That means it's actually a worthwhile event, okay? And the second big thing is make sure that it's your target set of coaches that you want to be seen by that are there, okay? So if you're a guy that's playing in the EHL, for example, and you're a 20-year-old or you're a 19-year-old going on your last year in the EHL, don't go to a showcase where it's just lined up with NCAA D1 coaches. That's a huge waste of time, okay? Nothing against you, but you're more going in the aspect and the avenue of NCAA D3. So make sure you go to a showcase where it's gonna be packed with NCAA D3 coaches. That's doing yourself a favor. So make sure you kind of pick and tailor the showcases that are exposing you to the right level of coaches, okay? What we like to do at our events is we have nice diversified exposure. So we have like a bunch of D1s, D3s, major juniors, you know, junior coaches from a whole bunch of different leagues, prep coaches. We like the diversified exposure just because it gives that exposure to certain players that are at different levels in their careers, okay? So really important for that for us, but for you, like it might not be our showcase that's the best. It might be a showcase that's really lined up with only Ivy Leagues, right? Like the Matterhorn showcase, for example. If you're a guy with great grades and you think you're gonna go Ivy League one day, that's probably the best showcase to go to. So make sure you go to a showcase with high exposure, at least 50 or so scouts in attendance, and then really diversified exposure that's tailored more to you. Moving on to criteria number 3 here, and that is to go to small to medium-sized events, okay? I really don't like the really big events that have tens of thousands of players there because it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. It's much easier to get noticed if you're at a small event and you actually dominate at this event, okay? So you wanna go to small events that do have high caliber, right? But if you go there and you actually dominate, the odds of getting seen by coaches and scouts is much higher. Even if you dominate at a big showcase, you could get seen. You know, you could be the best player there. The odds are much lower because there's tens of thousands of players, but let's say you dominate there, you could get seen, but the odds are just much lower. You're better to stack the odds in your favor and actually go to a small to medium sized event with no more than like 200, 250 players as a benchmark, and then try and dominate from there and get seen from there. I'd say those are much more higher yield and a higher return on investment for your time and money than going to a really large event, which I'm not gonna name names. All right, so criteria number 4 here is making sure that you go to events that have small teams. Now, it's hard to know this until you get to the event, but kind of look at their past track record, ask around again, that's how you kind of know. You don't want to be at a showcase where you have like, you know, 5 lines of forwards, 8 D, 4 goalies on a team, you know, that makes no sense. And yes, I've seen this happen. That the teams are reasonable, you know, no more than 3 lines of forwards, 5 to 6 D max, you know, and then 2 goalies per team. So really make sure that it's reasonable. Even call the showcase host ahead of time, try and get in touch with them to see what the size of of the teams are going to be. If they're smaller teams, you get more ice time, you get a better experience, and you have a higher likelihood of getting seen by coaches. So really big thing that a lot of people overlook, but do your research on this one too. All right, so just a quick recap here of the 4 criteria I use to choose the hockey showcases to attend to and avoid the money grabs. Number 1, make sure that they're trusted organizers. Number 2, make sure there's a high level of coaches and scouts in attendance. Number 3, make sure they're small to medium-sized events, no more than 250 players or so. And number 4, make sure they're small teams. And that is a wrap for the video, my friends. If you enjoyed the content, definitely click here or click here to keep watching. And if you haven't already, destroy that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, drop a comment down below if you have any questions for us. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch up on that next one.